Welcome to Friday Friends, RI Elder Info's weekly look at the organizations and individuals providing resources for Rhode Island seniors, caregivers, and professionals.
Good morning, all my fabulous friends out there. I am Deb Burton, the Executive Director of RI Elder Info, and every Friday at 9 o'clock, I live stream here on our show called Friday Friends, where I talk to interesting people that you really need to know about. And today is no different. We have something that is actually really important from the littles all the way up to our great, 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 great grandparents. So it's super important that you hit the like button and the share button. It's going to be a great conversation today. You know, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, so everything that we do is really dependent on our sponsors and our donors, and we are really grateful that they enable us to bring this information to you every week. So big shout out to Oak Street Health. They provide primary care for individuals on Medicare. They have locations across the state. I really encourage you to check out Oak Street Health. They even provide transportation to the doctor's office, which I know sometimes can be really challenging these days. United Healthcare, they are a wonderful insurance company that offers a lot of benefits to their Medicare enrollees. So give Jennifer Barrows a call over at United Healthcare, and she'll be happy to discuss all the different options that are available. The magic that you see taking place here today is from 321 Media, pretty much the only show in the game that can do live streaming at this level. So if you're looking at expanding into live streaming, video, marketing, etc., reach out to 321 Media. Ben is awesome over there. And if you've visited rielderinfo.com, you have visited rielderinfo.com, right? Yeah. rielderinfo.com was designed by the Magic over at England Studio. They're also located here in Rhode Island. Give Sal or Dave a call, and they will be happy to talk to you about how to design something that far exceeds what you could even imagine. So today, I don't want to spend a lot of time chatting just with you guys until after, because what my guest has to say is so incredibly important. What I have to say is really minimal. So I would like to bring up today Mike Tetreault, the Cybersecurity Advisor for Rhode Island Region 1, New England Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency at the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. I think you have the longest title of anybody I've introduced.
It's the government. All the titles are long. That's how they operate.
That's it. So, Mike, tell everybody what it is that you do.
So I now work under the Department of Homeland Security. As the department, we have the agency, which is the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. And I work as a cybersecurity advisor specifically assigned to the state of Rhode Island. We typically work in critical infrastructure, but what I have found, I actually am 1 year on the job Monday. And what I have
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Critical infrastructure really expands beyond just what we generally think about with power to your homes and water and sewer and highways and those kind of things. What I really found is it expands to all citizens. We all have something that's important and that can be disrupted and disrupt our way of life. I specifically saw a lot of this in the K through 12 education. When I started really last spring, I started seeing a lot of challenges with elementary schools and junior high schools and high schools. You would think of them as critical infrastructure, but when you stop and think, providing an education to our students is pretty important. It may not be an immediate effect, but there is a long-term effect if you can't do that. There were schools in Connecticut that were shut down for 2 or 3 weeks because of ransomware attacks. So it's a real thing. So, today I really want to help give some information. A lot of what I do is sharing information. I do some technical assessments. I do have one scheduled for today that I'll be doing. So I do travel around the state and do engage with a lot of different partners and help them. What I love about my job is I work for the government. I'm paid by the government, and I can walk in, provide free assessments. I'm not trying to sell anything. And I certainly am just there as an advisor. I play the role of Switzerland. I don't come in and judge. I don't audit. I don't inspect. I purely advise, and people are free to take my advice or not take my advice. Generally, they follow what I do. I work out of my house here in Cranston. I'm a Rhode Island native my whole life. And other than a few years away with the Army, I just retired out of the Army after 31 years in the Army doing cybersecurity and communications. So this is the next phase of my life. I'm on to my next career, as it were. And I already got a year under my belt. So that's a little bit about me. And I know, Deb, you'll provide all the contact information. Folks are free to reach out to me via email or phone. I will say it has a 202 area code on my phone number because the phone is issued out of our headquarters in Arlington, Virginia. But I will tell you, I am working right out of my house in Western Cranston this morning. So it does ring me there, and that's how they work it. So I work as a remote worker. It's great. And fortunately, I do get out. I'm not trapped in my house. I have all my COVID shots, so I'm able to get out and work with folks. This morning, I just want to take a few minutes just to give your listeners and your people that are dialed in to really understand some of the things that are out there. And before I jump into some of the things you can do to help yourself, when I do my engagements, we say cybersecurity, and everyone's like, what does that really mean? I like to present it a little bit different. I like to present it as cyber resilience. And when we think resilience is not something you can buy. I'll go into a lot of partners and they'll say, well, make sure I can get grant money so I can buy more stuff to protect our network. I need more hardware.
I feel that.
Right. And they don't even really truly know what they have or how it's configured. And I said, well, let's stop. Let's back up for a second. Let's look at the entire organization. Let's talk resilience. So what is resilience? You can't buy resilience. Think about your health. You can't buy good health. You eat well, you exercise, you don't smoke, you don't drink or drink to excess. You keep your stress level down. Maybe you get your flu shots and your vaccines, and you wash your hands. You do different things. There are activities you do that improve your resilience to getting sick, right? To coming down with the flu or getting sick. So that's what we say when we talk resilience. There are actions and activities you have to consciously do and continuously do. It doesn't just end and you say, well, I'm resilient, I don't have to do anything anymore. It's a continuous battle, right? Every fall I get my flu shot. The strains vary and different things change, and you have to stay updated. So cybersecurity or computer security or internet security, however you want to call it, is no different. So I go in and I tell people, let's improve your resilience. Let's make you more resilient and bring your risk down to being attacked and being a victim of these different attacks. And it's, to be honest with you, most of the attacks are very much criminally motivated, right? Everybody wants to make an easy dollar, make a buck. It's easier to steal something online and a lot less risky than trying to go in and rob a bank at gunpoint. That's been proven. And a lot of these bad actors, these criminal enterprises, live outside the United States, so it's very hard to go and get them and prosecute them. So that becomes a challenge. The internet breaks down this wall where you can be anyone and you can be anywhere, and no one can really figure that out. So that's what you have to keep in mind as we talk about being more resilient and improving your cybersecurity. So what are some of the things you can do? I'm sure you've heard of this over and over from various sources. Have strong passwords. Well, what does that mean? That means something that's not easy to guess. Don't have a password that says password 123, or your unlock code on your phone is all ones. Try and beef it up a little bit. Now, I know there's a controversy right now about passwords where they said, oh, it has to be complex with special characters and lowercase and uppercase, and it makes it impossible to remember. There's a new school of thought that actually says some of the best passwords are, think of 3 words you can remember pretty easily. Capital the first letter of each one of those 3 words and put a dot or a dash in between those 3 words, and that's your password. So, capital ducks, period, capital horses, period, capital dogs. That's a pretty good password, right? And it's something you can remember pretty easy. The 3 animals I like the most, right? That's a good example. So think of that. A lot of systems may not let you do that, unfortunately. So you may have to throw a few exclamation marks or hat symbols at the end to give them their special characters. But that's something to keep in mind. The internet was never built with authenticity in mind and security in mind. And that's an important thing. The internet was developed by the federal government to be able to communicate back in the 60s and 70s. It was developed to survive a nuclear war. Not to be morbid, but that's what it was designed for. It was designed to provide high availability so that if one node gets broken, the traffic, the internet, the data can move through a different way and get to the destination. So when we look at IT security and cybersecurity, I look through three different lenses, three different dimensions. I look at it through the eye of confidentiality, right? How do I protect my information so people that I don't want to read it can't see it? I look at integrity. Is the information what it should be? Or has somebody modified my bank account and taken away some money? Or have I tricked the system and added money to my account, right? That's integrity. And then availability. Is it available when I need it? Can I get to where I need to be? So you want to be able to connect somewhere. You want to be able to connect there and have that transaction be secure. And you want to know that the information that's there is correct. Think about if you log online to your bank account. You want to be able to connect. You don't want anybody to see your password. You don't want anybody to see your financial information. And you want your financial information on your online statement to match what you know it should be. You don't want to get in there someday and see there's a few $100 missing. How did that happen, right? So think about those three dimensions. The internet was never built to provide confidentiality or integrity. So we have to add it on later. We have to bolt it on. And you'll see that when you go to websites. You have the little lock that shows up. That's an add-on. The normal internet was never built to provide web pages securely. That had to be added on. And then when you see it, you get the little gold lock. That means you're secure. So with that in mind, you have to remember anybody can be anybody. They can pretend to be anybody. I could be Superman online. I could be Spider-Man, right? So don't believe everything you see. Just because it's online, it's not this mysterious thing that anybody, you must really be smart to know how to pretend you're Superman online. No, not really. It's actually very easy.
Are you telling me that friend request that came in from the gentleman who appears to be about my age, who lists himself as single and the neurosurgeon from the World Health Organization, are you saying he's not real?
Probably not real. Don't believe everything you hear. And draw the parallel to if somebody cold calls at your house. I remember growing up as a kid, it always seemed that we didn't have the internet, right? But you always had the people calling in. They'd always call in at supper time. And it would set my dad off. He used to get so mad that the phone was interrupting our family dinner. And they knew you were home. And if you answered it, they were trying to sell you something, right? And they were a little more, they were less mysterious back then, but it's no different than it is today. People can be anybody they want to be. The same thing applies to email. When you get an email, just because it came to you via email doesn't mean it's authentic. It's very hard to provide an authentic email. When I worked within the Department of Defense and when I work within the Department of Homeland Security, within our own email system, we're able to provide authenticity to each other. But once it leaves our email system, you really can't. So be skeptical of things that you see. Definitely be skeptical of opening attachments. My parents were in Florida vacationing they snowbird down to Florida for 3 months. But at least once a week, I get a call from my mom about an email she got. She's pretty good. And she just double checks. Hey, does this look legit? I'm like, no, Mom, it's not. It says Citizens Bank on there, but if you look, the I is a 1. So that's a fake website. So you have to be careful. They're very sneaky. The best way to compromise systems and networks is to socially engineer us, to get us to do something we normally wouldn't do. They want you to open the door. They want you to open the front door. They want to trick you. The days of getting into a system through technical means really are very limited now. That's generally at a much higher level with nation state actors and that spy versus spy kind of thing. For us, it's someone wanting to trick you to open your front door to come in and rob your house. It's the exact analogy that I use with people. They're trying to trick you to open up your checkbook, write a check, whatever, however you want to think of it.
Click the link.
Link. And
I probably get, 7 different emails every day that says invoice your Norton security software needs updating, or your MSN files, your Microsoft files need to get updated. We just need credit card information. Please call this number or click this link.
I get that all the time. Netflix is another big one. Think about it. There are these big services, right? Netflix, Amazon, Norton Antivirus, whatever they are, the big companies. It's easy to pretend you're those companies. There's no way, the authenticity is not there. There's no way to authenticate. I will tell you that most companies, their business practice is to say, your bill is available, go online and check it out, right? They don't give you a link. They won't tell you what your balance is in the email. They'll protect that information. That's how you can generally tell that's a legitimate email. Companies know now. Don't bother doing that. It's a little less convenient for us as the customer. You can't just click on the link in the email or see the information. You have to go sign in. But that's by design to help protect you. Companies, you should not be entering in. They should never be asking you to enter your password through an email, right? You should only get that when you go to the website. And even if you get a message from a company that you may do business with, don't rely on that email. Go through the normal way in which you sign on to that site and check it that way. You don't have to jump right from the email into the site. Just a couple other things I wanted to just mention while I have this time here is, I know a lot of folks like social media. I don't use it that much. I do use LinkedIn just because of the nature of my job. I have to make connections professionally. But even then, I'm skeptical of people who try to connect with me. I generally look at who are friends of friends, and that helps kind of validate things for me. Generally, it's people that I know of, that they are actually a real human being. If I don't know if they're a real person or that they know these particular people, then I generally don't accept those connections. But the internet does not have a delete button. Generally, things you put out there, even if you delete them within your account, they are probably stored somewhere in an archive somewhere else. So remember that. When you put something online, it is forever. The exception to that would be if you're in Europe, if you're in the European Union, their new GDPR regulations say you have the right to be removed. If you remove something, they are required to scrub it out of their system entirely, right? The right to be forgotten is what they call it. We don't have that here in the States yet. It may be, someday we will, where when you say you want something removed, the supplier of that service has to remove you completely. Be aware when you broadcast your location. It's very convenient when you take a photo to geolocate and tag it. I love doing that. It helps you, remember where you were on a particular vacation or a trip. And there's nothing wrong with that. But be careful when you post those pictures online, because now it shows where you are, especially if you have times and dates in there. There's more than one example of people who post online. They're on this great vacation with the whole family, and they have information of where their home is. And people know they're not home. So they go and break into their house while they're on vacation. And how they find their house, it was in the information in their pictures online. So just keep those things in mind. Things can connect together. People can make connections that you would rather not have them make. And again, connect only with people you trust, that you should trust. I like to do a little vetting. If you have that weird feeling in the pit of your stomach, I would probably go with it. If it's probably right. If you get an offer that sounds too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true, right? My economics teacher in college, there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? Someone's paying. By the way, if you're getting something free and you're like, well, they're not charging me, how's this a commodity? You are the commodity. They want your information. Your information, what you do, your shopping habits, your friends, where you vacation, all of that information is harvested. That is the commodity. We are in the information age. They trade in information. It may be good, it may be bad. You need to consider that. Your information and what you do is what they're after, right? And if you're okay with that, then that's fine. But I would be leery. Be careful of what you do. Obviously, don't put your date of birth and your social security number online unless you know it's a site you've gone to, and they have the proper protections. Like I log into the Social Security Administration site. To that end, I will tell you, if you're going to do anything with the federal government and state government for that matter, if you're in Rhode Island, the web address should always end in .gov, .gov. If it ends in .gov, it's authentic. So if you're going to stateofrhodeisland.gov, it's a legitimate site. If it says stateofrhodeisland.com, it is a fake site, and they will collect information on you and use it against you. That is a big push we have here with my agency. We are trying to get more and more people onto the .gov. A good friend of mine and former employee of mine, he now is the head of IT security for the state of Rhode Island. He and I talk very regularly, and he and I are working very hard to get the cities and towns to go to .gov so that we as citizens know that this is a legitimate site and that there's no question that it's not fake. You can see my address is cisa.dhs.gov. And there is a process to get a .gov. A commercial scammer cannot get a .gov address. It is a huge validation process we go through to vet who they are, a lot of paperwork. So you are sure that if it's a .gov, you're good. SocialSecurity.gov. You're going to the right place. Don't go to SocialSecurity.com or .org or .anything else because it is not a legitimate, authentic site. It's the best way we can do authenticity right now. Knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is power.
And Mike, isn't it also when people go to certain websites, so like your website, your contact is scrolling at the bottom here.
Mhm.
And another kind of good rule of thumb is if in the very beginning it says HTTPS
Yes.
and the
Yeah.
S is for security.
Secure.
Is that it?
Yeah, that is exactly. That goes back to what I started with. So when the internet was built, everything was just HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. That's what that stands for. Who cares, right? That just meant that you at one site could talk to a computer at another site through this thing we call the internet, through this network. Again, we never built with security in mind. So we had to add that on. So your browsers have things in them called digital certificates and ways to encrypt. We have all types of encryption methods and ways in which your information is encrypted from your computer all the way to the Amazon web server. And the way that is done is it actually adds the S on there. When you see the S, that means that you are connecting to that site as a secure connection. Way back, I'm old, but I remember when the internet, I was actually in the military when the internet was not in the public domain. And I remember when it was released to the public and everybody did HTTP. And then people started realizing, oh, I can see that person's username and password and I can steal it, and said, all right, we got to do something. They added the S, they added the security piece. And what used to happen is you go to a website and you would log into their site with the unsecure. And then when you went to go make a credit card payment, it would flip you over to the S part of the website. That was kind of a transition. Now every site is pretty much secure from the moment you log in. So if you're going to a website that does not have that S on there, or you don't see the little lock up on your browser bar, you know it's a bad site and don't do it.
So here's a question. Would the IRS or the police department or Social Security, would they ever reach out to somebody by phone or through an email and ask an individual to go get gift cards, like iTunes gift cards,
Absolutely
and enter
not.
the code from the back? Would that ever happen
Absolutely
in real
not.
life?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Deb. That's a big problem recently. In fact, I noticed when I went to CVS over the holidays to get some gift cards for friends and family, the PIN pad now actually asks you if you're being forced or coerced to get these gift cards for something. And I thought that was great. The government will never ask you to do that. In fact, most of the times the government will send you a letter, the old snail mail method, to your house. And I got to tell you, that's pretty great. I actually transitioned from the DOD to DHS, and they kind of messed up my healthcare transfer a little bit. So I actually have a debt I got to pay back. And they have a whole process for that. But they didn't send me an email saying, hey, you owe us this money and get it to us in gift cards. They sent a letter to my house and said, okay, so here's what we're going to do. And we're going to take a little bit out of your paycheck every pay period. And then you'll do it that way. I said, okay, great. And it was, I did receive an email that said, this is what we're looking to do, to my official work email address. And I also have received a letter to my house to kind of substantiate what I received in email. In no way did they say, send us a bunch of gift cards. That is absolutely a big scam and definitely not something you should ever be doing. And I will say, please, if you ever have a question, reach out to me. I have friends and family reach out to me every day, all the time, asking. My daughter does it all the time. I just end with the big thing I'm seeing now, too, is if you have a smartphone, you're getting text messages that say, my daughter's been getting these from Citizens Bank, and it's a fake Citizens Bank. It's really annoying, and she gets annoyed. And they put links in there. And if you click on the link, if you have a smartphone, it'll go open up the browser and potentially ask you to put in username and password. Do not do it. A reputable bank or reputable business or government entity will never text you something with a link in it to go click on and sign in. All right. That is a new thing that's coming out. It's called smishing, SMS phishing. It's like doing the emails, only they're doing it through text. The problem with that is with emails, a lot of times on your computer, you can have things that can protect you from doing that. On your smartphone right now, there are not a lot of protections. Once you click on that link and start putting information in, it's kind of game over. So be aware of that. I use the spam filter. I usually on my phone, I can report. I have an iPhone. I can report it as spam to AT&T or to Apple. Hopefully they'll do something. Sometimes they don't. But I filter those things out. If you're not a known contact on my list, right out of the gate, I'm already suspicious of who you are.
Right. And it's interesting because, for folks like myself, where I do a lot of stuff online, and my phone number and email are all public, I get a lot of weird stuff coming through. And, sometimes it looks really close to real, but
Yeah.
then I'll get the ones that it's like, this is your bank. We think that there has been fraud on your account. Can you please confirm your password?
Right.
Or this is Amazon calling. Can you please confirm the charge for, and sometimes they say it's a lot of money and sometimes it's not,
Yep.
and just click this number and we can get it fixed. And they sound really believable.
Yeah. No, it's incredible how much, again, it's the social engineering. No one should ever be asking for your password. Any reputable company will never ask for your password, period. End of story. If they do, you shouldn't be doing business with them. It's really that simple. I do have it set up when I do charges. If there's a charge where I do online where my card was not present, I'll get a text message. But again, I know that because I literally hit send on the payment to Amazon and my phone buzzes and I'm like, okay, yep, those match. So, there's a timing piece of it. If you're seeing a text message come in that you signed up for and it's happening because of an event you triggered, then it's legitimate. But if it's not, there's a problem. That's the other thing I'll just leave with is that for websites, a lot of companies are now offering this thing we call it a multi-factor authentication. And I'll explain that. Traditionally, I just need a username and password, which is just something I know. If somebody gets a hold of that password, and there are multiple ways to get a hold of your passwords, even if you don't directly give it up, I can log in as you, and I can pretend I'm you, and I can take your money. I can charge your credit cards, or whatever it may be. This concept of multi-factor, it provides an additional layer of things you need to do. It can seem a little annoying at times, but it's protecting you because the sites now will put in your username, your password, and then it will send you a text message to your phone or an email to your email account, or call you actually on the phone and give you a code, a 6 or 8 digit number that you have to put in as an additional step to the login process. And that's what we call multi-factor. It's something your password, and something you have, your phone. And if you don't have your phone, or if the bad guy doesn't have your phone, they won't get that number, so they can't get into your account. So I suggest if you have that option to do that, please do it. Sign up for it. A lot of companies are kind of forcing you to do it. And it probably is annoying, but it is for your own protection. It's for their protection. And I will tell you, it's very effective. It's very effective in eliminating a lot of scams and a lot of theft. So I leave you with that.
So Mike, one last quick question. What are just 3 things that people can do to increase their safety when they are online, in case folks are checking in late? Just something real quick, 3 things.
Always be suspicious of who you're talking about. Anybody can be anybody on the internet. So have a second way to validate somebody, right? Update your software on your phone, on your computers. When it says to update. That gets rid of vulnerabilities that can leave you vulnerable to having something bad happen. And use passwords that are long, but you can remember. And if you have the option to do multi-factor, sign up for that.
Mike, thank you so much for taking the time to come on today. I know that you are a really busy guy. Homeland Security calls, right?
Busy's good. I don't want to be, bored. No one wants to be bored. My dad was never bored growing up, and I certainly don't want to be that way either. So, Deb, it's great having me. And again, my information is out there for everybody. Sorry I have to run off to another engagement, but I look forward to working again in the future. And again, if anybody has questions, by all means, let me know, and we can follow up.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Mike.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Have a great day.
Have a great weekend. Enjoy the snow.
Yes. And like Mike said, there is a blizzard that is set to come tomorrow. For those of you who are regular watchers, from the Virtual Senior Resource Fair, we had Armand on from Rhode Island EMA. He gave some great tips at the Virtual Senior Resource Fair on preparing for emergencies. I'm going to try to post up his video later today so that everybody knows what to do to prepare for the storm. And as we prepare for the storm, keep in mind, our scammers don't ever stop trying. So you might get crazy calls asking you to validate and verify password information, banking information. Don't believe them. They're not true. And I hope you are all safe in the storm, that you are prepared with batteries and flashlights in the event we lose power, and some water, extra medications, that kind of thing. We'll all get through it. It'll all be fine. Sunday's set to be a sunny, beautiful day, and we will move on. In the meantime, I look forward to seeing you all next Friday at 9 a.m. right here on Facebook. I hope that you've hit the like and the share button to get this information out to everybody. And in the meantime, be well and be kind. Thank you.
If you liked this video, please follow us on social media and subscribe on YouTube. For more information, visit rielderinfo.com or call 401-585-0509. If you have any questions, email deb@rielderinfo.com.